Hello everybody, this is Troy Coe from Reality Defense Training. Welcome back to the next installment of Reality Check. Hello everyone, Troy Coe from Reality Defense Training. Welcome to the next episode of Reality Check. Today, we're going to discuss margin for error. Margin for error is something that's virtually missing in every martial art that's taught. They think that they can do things really, really fancy, no matter what level of stress or speed that it's done at. And we're going to give 6 examples today of what we mean by margin for error. But you got to keep in mind that if you don't build in margin for error, you will miss. You will get cut, you will get hit when you try to do fancy things. So margin for error has to be built into your training as well as everything else. Now the first 2 things we're going to use as an example are 2 of the ferocious 5. Eyes and ears, the first 2 on top of the list. And Christy and Stephen are going to demonstrate this a little bit. What we're going to do is we're just going to grab it from the front. Now there are 3 variations that we teach when we teach people when they're being grabbed. Both arms pinned, 1 arm pinned, no arms pinned. This for the example we need to use here, we're going to use 1 arm pinned on this. So, and she'll be set up so that she can use her right hand so you can see it. Now, you know, she's going to wrap her leg around, and then she's going to kind of try to use the Vulcan mind meld here, where her fingertips are on the head.
When I touch you like this.
Now, if he were to move his head real quickly, she's going to lose it. Versus what we do, we put our hands on the head solidly, so if he moves his head, she can follow him. The wrong way to do this is just try to grab it with your fingers, because if he's moving his head, you're not going to get it. Now, if she were to grab and put her hand completely around there and squeeze all the fingers around, she'd be able to hold on more tightly.
And look at the blood spray out of it. Oh man, that is nasty. Yeah, that's it.
So the first 2 examples you'll see are minor things, but they can make a big difference under stress. So by grabbing with a large hand, wrapping around the head, and grabbing the ear completely and wrapping your hands around, your fingers around the ear, really will make it more successful, the chances of being successful. And that is what margin for error means. You're stacking the deck in your favor, so you're doing it in such a way that you have margin to make a mistake. The idea is you need to be able to make a mistake, and it still needs to work completely for you. What do we mean by margin for error? What does it actually mean? How does it apply to training, even as it transitions into real life situations? We assume under stress, you will shorten or lengthen your timing or technique plus or minus 50%. So what I mean by that is if you should really commit, you won't commit enough. And if you should not commit too much, you'll tend to overcommit. That's kind of what we mean. But there are also some technical things that we apply to that. And we'll use the firearm as an example. Now, you'll see here, this is a good takeaway that a lot of people do. And you'll see different versions and ways that they do this. You'll see some people use their fingers right here. Okay? Now, the problem with using your fingers is if you're a little tense on this, fingers give. You don't get a lot of flex here. And you'll see some people come up and hit like this. You'll see people do this. This is not a natural motion here. You see people do that. Hitting right here is a little bit more natural. This is fine, even if you go a little higher, which would be, plus 50%, because this will still work on this takeaway here. But if you turn the weapon horizontally, the homie hold, this may not work. So what we do to stack the deck in our favor all the time is we do the same thing all the time. Common delivery. We go all the way over, because this will still work for the horizontal, the vertical takeaway, as well as the horizontal takeaway. So we practice it going really deep on the hook, so that if we're a little short on the homie hold, I'm still with my hand, even though I'm not over here like this. That's what we mean by margin for error. We practice it so that if we do mess up, too much effort, not enough effort, it will still work for us. How does this apply to the knife? How does margin for error apply to the blade? Now we're talking about a knife-to-knife situation, or just cutting anyone. When we practice cutting anywhere, neck, arm, we want to make sure that we hit at a right angle as much as we can. I don't care if I'm cutting this way, or if I go in weird and cut this way. What I don't want to do is alter my cuts too far, plus or minus. So if this is 90 degrees 50%, of course, 45. If I practice this, now in real life, if I'm trying to get 90 and I get 45, that's going to be a good deep cut. But if I practice this all the time at 45 degrees and I shorten that 50%, what ends up happening is I start getting more of a fillet type cut where I got a flap of skin versus cutting the tendons and ligaments that we want to cut in this. It's extremely important when you're practicing this stuff to not get sloppy and cutting it at angles that are really strange. Because when you really need to be accurate is when you have a knife in your hand. So that's a knife-to-knife situation. But the application of the blade, another thing that we build the margin for error in is how most people hold their knife. They, anywhere from kind of what they call the natural grip to saber to hammer, ice pick, reverse saber, all these different positions. And they all have their individual problems and weaknesses. Now I learned a long time ago that some knives are this long, some knives are that long. So how do you practice with one length of knife, and the knife that you carry may only be that long? You see a lot of these Filipino guys, they got all these knives with big old blades that they're practicing with, and then they carry a little karambit or something in their pocket. So you're practicing with something that's not the same. So what we do here is we cut with our knuckle. What I mean by that is, if I'm going to come in and cut, I can do this entire drill with my knuckle. If I hit with my knuckle here, no matter what I'm doing, if the blade is that long, I'm going to get the deepest cut I can get. If it's this long, I will get the deepest cut that I can get. This allows us to build in, if I'm always trying to get that knuckle, I have the greatest chance of actually cutting most with the blade. If I get used to practicing with this, and I come in and I'm cutting with the tip up here, sure, if I have a knife that's this long, it's great, right? But if my knife is only this long, I may miss. If I'm used to gauging where I'm cutting by spatial awareness of where my hand is versus where my blade is. That's kind of what we mean. Now, with everything else with this, we also trust that you'll do under stress what you're trained to do. And you might look at this, we assume under stress you will shorten or lengthen timing technique 50 plus or minus 50%. We also assume that you'll do under stress what you're trained to do. Now then people ask me, well, those are kind of opposites, so which one is it? My answer has always been yes. So what happens, if you do something correctly enough times, it will become so motor automatic that you will know no other way to throw it except the right way. So under stress, if you're trained correctly, you will do what you're trained to do. But just in case, we build margin for error into everything so that if you do make a mistake, it still works completely for you. I hope you found this video informative. If you have any questions, please write them in the comments below. please subscribe and follow us and click that notification thing. I guess YouTube really requires that now. And we'll see you next time.